Carl here from Metal Wani, and today I have the pleasure of hanging out with one of my personal favourite guitarists, so I'm stoked for this. It is none other than Lamb of God's own Mark Morton. Mark, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out today, man.
No worries. Thanks for your time, Carl. I appreciate you having me.
Of course, man. So, for anyone who may not have heard, you are releasing your debut solo album, Anesthetic, on March 1st, and I just wanted to delegate a second or two just to congratulate you on a fantastic record, Mark.
Wow, thank you for saying that. Thanks for taking the time to listen. I'm really proud of it.
Oh, dude, I haven't stopped listening, so it's... yeah. But, yeah, so one of the things that really struck me about Anesthetic, and I'm sure many will feel the same, was how it captures you in quite a few different lights. There's some bluesy stuff, acoustic, 90s grunge, and there's even some more commercial-sounding hard rock in there, and yet it all gels beautifully. But some of these styles people wouldn't necessarily have linked to you prior to Anesthetic. Was there any trepidation when it came to making this record with regards to presenting yourself outside of what, your fans would normally associate you with, or was that never really a concern for you?
It was actually the point. It was, that was the catalyst, the kind of motivation, the reason behind the whole thing. But it sort of grew organically. I write songs just because I write songs, and a lot of the songs wind up being thrash metal songs, and some of those songs you hear in Lamb of God, right? But then there's rock songs and 90s kind of grungy songs and more bluesy songs that I write that I don't really have a destination for, and those things started coming together and piling up a little bit, and I played a bunch of them for Josh Wilbur, my longtime producer, and that was kind of the beginning of the process. Anesthetic was really just the destination.
Amazing, man.
Started really developing them, yeah.
That's really cool, and I think some people might have that misconception about you that, you are strictly and explicitly a metal guitarist, and that's just not the case, which this record is a testament to. And I'm curious as to how, as a guitarist, you approached this record. Was it challenging to kind of become chameleonic and adapt your style from song to song, or did that come naturally?
No, I think it happened naturally. I mean, it's just again, when I write, I usually my process of writing. I don't know how other people write, but mine is I hear something in my head, so I just kind of teach myself to play what I'm already hearing. And being a fan of lots of different styles of music and having a kind of diverse set of influences. These are just representations of stuff that, songs that I hear kind of clanking around in my head, and types of music that I work on outside of what most people know me for, I guess, which is thrash metal and Lamb of God. Of
course, man. And, obviously, I love what you're saying, because it sounds like you just, you let yourself off the leash on this record, and we're just, making art for art's sake. And I was kind of curious, when it came down to revisiting the early demos with the view of making this your prime focus for a while, when you said there earlier, you kind of caught my interest when you said that, the point of it was to kind of show yourself in a few different lights. Was that like, was that the mission statement going in? Was there a premeditated end result in mind, or what was it, my friend?
Yeah, no, I didn't even know if this would end up seeing the light of day, honestly.
Right.
Working on it. It was just the process of developing the songs with Josh to see what what they could turn into, and that became who could sing the song well, and then reaching out to those people, and then getting involved with Jake Oni, who was kind of creating the list. And got involved a little bit creatively as well, and just kind of us sort of coming together with this idea of, well, let's make this an official project. It's an album, but we're going to have a bunch of different guests on it, and then the monstrosity of organizing all that, that was enough the next 2 years.
Of course. And just there, when you're speaking of the many guests you had, a couple of the tracks that caught my attention, were, Sworn Apart with Jacoby Shaddix of Papa Roach, Blur with Mark Morales of Sons of Texas. It's such a great tune, man. And that's just to name but a few. But when I heard Imaginary Days, I was like, wow, this guy has a serious set of pipes on him. It is such a great track that I'd be shocked if it didn't become a fan favorite. If you'd be so kind, I'd love to know the genesis of that tune. What's in the DNA of it? What was it born of?
Imaginary Days was it was just a riff I had, and I had laying around for a while, and I didn't quite know what to do with it. It wasn't quite heavy enough for a metal song, but I felt like it had a cool movement to it. I liked it. It sort of had it had a personality just in that main riff. It's one of the first ones we kind of put together demos for when Josh and I started working together doing pre-production, and it's a song that I had written all the lyrics for. So once we got the song put together, kind of outlined and structurally, the way we wanted it to go top to bottom, I went in and just did a vocal demo of the lyrics I had written for it, assuming at some point someone else would recut them. And I think we just got used to listening to that one, and then, I did go in and recut them for the album, but by that point, I had been talked into singing lead on one song on the album, so that's the one we get.
It's a really cool tune, man. And I'd read, that when you wrote these songs, you were kind of thinking, okay, well, what voice is going to suit these? And obviously, you've got everybody from, Jacoby to Buck Sherry and all this kind of stuff. And I was wondering when you were thinking about, okay, what kind of voices do I want on this? What guys do I want to contact? When you had the music there, were your choices obvious? Was it like, yeah, okay, I want to get Josh for this one, and I want to get Chester for that one, or did it take some mulling over to find the right vocalist for each song?
Honestly, no. It was really apparent from the start. It sounds like an easy way out to answer like that, but it really was. I mean, I couldn't hear anybody but Josh Todd singing Back from the Dead. It was just such a sleazy kind of, rock song, real unapologetic rock song. It needed a rock star singing it. And, so he was the guy, he was the call. And Save Defiance with Miles, I mean, to me, it sounds like it was written for him. It wasn't per se, but at the same time, he's the only person we ever asked to sing that song because it was just tailor-made for his voice, really, without us doing that intentionally. So it's just kind of, that was the vibe, was we'd get the music together, we'd cut a vocal demo if we had one. Sometimes we didn't have any vocals for the songs, or any melodies, top lines, or anything like that, so we would send the artist a blank track. Sometimes we'd send them a blank track and the demo we did vocals. It just depended on the song, but in terms of the process, it was pretty much the same for all of them. It was just Josh and I listening to the song and imagining who would sound best on that track, and then making a phone call.
Awesome, and that's sorry, I love hearing these stories. And now, obviously, there's a myriad of reasons as to why Anesthetic is generating such a wealth of interest. And of course, one of those reasons is Cross Off, which saw Chester Bennington becoming a part of all. And I would imagine that his tragic passing might have seen that track take a shift. And by that I mean you guys really had a collaborative effort between you in the making of Cross Off. Once Chester passed, I would think then that piece of music takes on a different kind of significance and can become quite a delicate thing. Did your relationship with that song change after Chester passed away?
Yeah, I guess it was delicate in some ways, in terms of the process of bringing it to light, given what happened. But in terms of my relationship to the song, when I hear Cross Off, I think of the experience we had making it, and although the subject matter is dark in places and pretty heavy duty, the process of us writing that and that sort of creative dialogue we had, and the vibe in the studio we had when we were writing it, when we were trying ideas, when he was cutting it, was really, really positive and energized and super motivated and very genuine and trusting. It was a really cool experience, is what I'm trying to say. So to me, it still holds that kind of light. I think of it. I think it's just what an awesome experience it was to have the opportunity to work with Chester on that song and to write that song with him.
So finally, Mark, it's thank you for your time. But it's too tough to let you go without asking about Lamb of God in 2019. It's obviously still early days, and all we really know is that there's been hours worth of riffs to listen to. And I was just wondering, is it possible for you to pierce any more of the anticipation with regards to maybe a songwriting direction or even a current status, or whatever you feel you can share at this time, man?
I mean, there's not much to say at this point. It's just a lot of song ideas. It's a lot of music that we've put together. I wouldn't call them songs yet. They're just pieces of music. It's a lot of what I call raw material, resource material. it feels really good. It's got an awesome energy to it. Some of it's really technical, some of it's grooving like you would expect, but it's exciting. It sounds like Lamb of God, and it's exciting. It's fresh, so it feels good.
Amazing stuff, man. Well, Mark, listen, sincerely, thank you so much for your time. I wish you nothing but the best with Anesthetic. It's a fantastic record, and I hope the rest of the year for you is just all positive, my friend.
Right on, man. Thanks for your time and support. I do appreciate it.
Of course, brother. Have a great